Hello, everyone. This is the Theotek podcast for the first time ever on Facebook Live, thanks to the marvel that is Ecamm Live. And I'm going to turn it over to our host, Kevin Purcell.
Hey, everybody. This is the Theotek podcast again. We haven't done one of these. Gosh, how long has it been? Is it like the week after Thanksgiving? So it's been probably a good month at least since we had one. We had a lot of scheduling nightmares during the holidays and everything, but we're glad to be back at it. And we're now doing this in a brand new way here on Facebook. And so we'll be trying to put up. Is it possible for us to upload a video after the fact, Wes, to YouTube or not?
Yes, it is possible for us to put it up on Facebook podcast. Yes, we can.
Okay, and so we'll be trying to put up
my Facebook version.
I heard that.
Okay,
it's an accident.
That would be better.
Anyway, we'll somehow get word to all of our subscribers through YouTube that we're over here now. But kind of a new tool that we're using to do this instead of Hangouts.
Yeah, this is called Ecamm Live, which is an application that comes out of Ecamm, and it tags into another one of those called Call Recorder, which works through Skype. So all the folks you're going to be seeing here tonight are just in a Skype call, and then I'm monitoring who's talking when and switching cameras and things like that. So if you're looking at someone who's not talking, that's entirely my fault tonight.
Well, what we're going to talk about are going to cover some new updates in Bible software. Just update to Accordance 12.2. Is that what the number is, Rick?
We're at 12.2.2, but the major update was 12.2.
Okay, well, share with us what's new and show it off to us if you can, and let us get an idea of what people will get if they go to their update inside the software, or if they just get started for brand new tonight. Maybe they will see this and will say, hey, that's pretty cool. I want to use that from now on.
You want me to share my screen here?
If you can.
I guess that would be the best way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're looking at yourself. Okay, now can you see Accordance?
Mm-hmm. We can.
Is it clear enough to do it?
I can see it, and I'm on a little mini screen, so you're good.
Okay, good deal. All right, so one of the big features that we did was we added an internal web browser into Accordance, and you think, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, there's a couple of things. The thing that, first of all, like from now on, if you hit Help, in the top right of the toolbar, our help is based on HTML files, and used to that would take you out into whatever your default web browser is. Now it keeps you inside the software, so that especially if you're going to follow something step by step, some instructions, it'll show you how to do that. But to me, that's not the big deal here. That's handy, but that's not the big deal. The big deal is, let's say that you're doing a study here, and right before we started, this is actually where I had Accordance a while ago, but I went ahead and double-clicked on Evangelion, and it brought it up here in the Liddell Scott and Jones lexicon. So here in this lexicon, there are a lot of references, for instance, to the Perseus website. So let me make my instant details a little bit larger down there at the bottom. So when I put the mouse over this reference here from Perseus, notice that it has the website. Now that's always been there, but here's what happens now. So I click on that, and so it actually goes out to Perseus. And let me see. I don't know. Mark, is there a way to make that larger? Did we lose Mark?
I think we might have lost Mark.
Okay. All right. I don't know if there's a way to make this. We need to have these same little, text setting. Let's say that you're here and okay. So I pulled up Perseus. First of all, as you'd expect, any of this content, because it's Unicode, I can right-click, I can paste that in a note or whatever. But let's say I want to do a search on a particular from Perseus. So what this does is, it gives you the power of the Accordance menu. So right now, what I'm doing is the contextual menu that I pulled up is not one for a web browser. It's the Accordance web browser. So I could search for this word in any Greek text that I wanted to. Let me do that real quick. Let's search for that in Ralph's. I clicked on an inflected form. Let me see here. Let's try something maybe a little bit easier. Let's for the Greek. The other thing that I could do, and I'll take the same word here again because that was a good example. I can go here to research, and maybe I want to search this in all of my lexicons, or I want to search this in all my grammars. I'm going to do it in grammars here, so I can do that. And so now, and you see how fast that is. Let me close out some of this so I can slide this over so you can see it better. How fast it is! It took that word. So here's in the BDF. Here's Burton's, Mounts, Deckers, Robertson, Stevens, Wallace, and it's done a search for that word from the website itself. So it's a nice feature. Plus, back I don't know if the ability to put links to different. I've got a number of these in my notes, for instance. Let me go back here, for instance, and if I've got, I'm trying to think where I would have one of my notes. Let me go to Acts chapter, I don't know, around, whoops, typing in the wrong spot. There we go. How about Acts chapter 7? I should have a couple of my personal notes in here. Well, those are all for the SBL Greek New Testament. That's for that apparatus. And add these. And so these are some of my notes. And so, for instance, website from Wikipedia. So if I go here to Wikipedia, I'd put this in my notes on the Ethiopian eunuch back when I had taught this, because I'd taken this illustration, this graphic from that, and I was citing it basically, and I put that link there, and so that took me back to the page. But I've got it here in Accordance, which is really nice. So that was one of the major features of Accordance, the 12.2 update. We did a few other things. Anyone have any questions about that, or before I mention a couple of other things that we've added?
Nope.
No,
I'll take that.
Cool.
Okay. We added a couple of other things, such as in we had people with commentaries who would say, well, I've got these commentaries in Accordance, but I never know if it covers my passage or not, working on a sermon or a Bible study or a paper or whatever, and I have to open up one and it doesn't cover it. And so he designed this, and you can add these in here. This goes from the order that you've got your commentaries in. Whoops, I should turn on Do Not Disturb, shouldn't I? Let's see here. There we go. Now it's in the order that you've got these set up in your library, and you see down an instant showing, and of course, as I go through. But we have a number of different sections here. Besides commentaries, we've got manuscripts and images and so forth. Well, now what we've added is my tool set. So what you can do now is, and it's not cooperating with me while I'm scrolling. Okay, what you can do now is you can add whatever content that you want. So, for instance, these I'd set up when we were doing some demos at ETS, put in journals. And so if I'm on any passage...
Hey, Rick, your screen stopped sharing, just letting you know.
My screen stopped sharing, okay.
At least that's what I'm seeing on the eCam. You might have timed out something.
Okay, well, let me try it one more time real quick and see if I can't get that working. We'd say that's Skype's fault, right?
Yeah, that's all Skype's fault.
All right, now, okay, so let's try this one more time. Well, it's funny, Skype says stop sharing.
Yeah.
So I'll stop sharing, and then I'll share again. All right, so share screen. Now let's go back to Accordance real quick. So
There you go.
this other section that we've added called My Toolset, basically you can add anything you want. I'm trying to get down to it. There must be a lot of, you must be pressing my processor pretty hard. Yeah, I'm looking at 148 degrees up there. But basically you put your mouse over anything you want. You can take anything from your library and put it in this. And so, when you think about my tool set. So, I'm always into church history, and so, I added the Nicene and post-Nicene fathers, the anti-Nicene fathers, and it gives me any of those. You get the idea. And so if I see something that's in one of these journals, or I see something in, for instance, the anti-Nicene fathers, I can on that, and it, most of these are quotations. So if I want to see where church fathers are, for instance, referring to, here's a quotation on this passage, I can find that there. So you get the idea. So those were two of the major things. I'd encourage you to check out 12. That update, by the way, for anyone who had already purchased version 12.
Well, cool. Thanks. I appreciate you sharing that. Anybody got any questions about it? I think you're not going to like this very well, guys from Accordance, but it's pretty neat is I'm able to open Accordance and use the Logos web app inside Accordance, which allows me to, use some of the books that I don't have in Accordance but do have.
Yeah, we think that's very neat.
Okay.
We think another platform that has a web portal, and okay, let's name the podcast here. This isn't official. Search has it. Who else?
Well, there's lots of independent ones.
Lots of independent, yeah.
Bible Gate.
So,
all of those.
So you can put all of that in a window. You can create a user tool with a bunch of links and to whatever you want, and just have those in standby mode to pull up any of your any of those sites that you want to. But it's and here's the cool thing: get the Accordance content, any of that content from the web and library.
Okay. I haven't worked with it a lot yet. Just I haven't had time to play around. So, but it's probably the best in-app Bible browser. It's one of only maybe two. I think Word Search has one, but I don't think it's very good. And terrible. It's the Windows app that's put inside. What do they call that? A wine bottle or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
It's like a shipping bottle.
Anything? I know you had a little bit of an update on the mobile app. Anything significant you want?
Well, we added. I should have had this ready, unless Mark has already. Let me turn on the reflector real quick. Reflector's
no, yeah, I don't have it on there.
I'll do this from my. Phone.
Let me just add while you're doing that.
Yeah.
With the. I've used Word Search quite a bit inside the web browser in Accordance, and it's kind of neat because it has so limited functionality normally. Word Search's web app, and it adds all this extra functionality. Normally, being able to do what you were showing by right clicking and doing the research and things like that. I went having Word Search installed on my computer to just using the web app, and it's kind of so it's pretty cool.
That's a great point. Word Search off, because the only reason I use it is to gain access to some of the books I have that are in Word Search, but I don't have in the other programs.
Great. Now you can just use it natively inside Accordance and have all the content.
Yeah, fire up Accordance, and that way I can National Critical or New International Commentary on the Old New Testament, which I only have in accordance, and the
Go ahead. Sorry.
I would say, and the Tyndale commentary, which I like. And then I've also got a bunch of word search books that they gave me long time ago when I reviewed it, like the Preacher's Outline and Study Bible, or no, Outline Sermon Bible, USB. Yeah. That is in word search.
There you go. So that browser's a cool feature. But Rick's got Reflector up, and he's showing off scrolling through text.
Yeah. Do it like this too. But now this is what it's been doing. It's been scrolling since the beginning, and I'm still one of these folks that kind of prefer the scroll, but not everyone does. And so you can go in and let me use my mouse to point out. Just flip this little switch, and now with that switch flipped, I can do this instead. So if that's your thing,
except. What do you lose when you turn on page flipping, Rick?
You have to tell me.
You can't put up a split pane.
Oh yeah, not yet. It'll be there. It'll be there. Yeah. So for instance, if you're if you're here in a biblical text, for instance, and so right now I can scroll. And we want because people have been asking for this forever. So right now, it'll just do the one, but we'll add in the ability to have the two panes because that makes sense that people would want that so that you can still have both at the same time.
Yeah, the one thing I think I would really also like to add is that Olive Tree, because they're swipe by default, but you can actually tap on any verse and say begin here, so it just pops up to that thing. And if Accordance could do that, I would be so happy.
Well, we can't take any ideas from competitors. By the way, while you're looking at this screen, notice the new little we're Mac OS, we're Windows or iOS, and what's this over here? We're Android now too. So at least in open beta.
At least in open beta with that now.
Yeah, we did an open beta.
I didn't know it was open.
Oh yeah, you can do it. Do you have any Android devices?
I have an old Nexus 7 and a couple of cheap Android 7-inch tablets.
Well, you could do it. I'm trying to get back to.
Just go to our forums. There's a link there for it.
All right, we'll try that. All right, Mr. Kevin, you want to move us on?
Yeah, I've got just a quick mention of my tool that honestly I don't really use a whole lot of, but it is a good tool, and that is Meridian's Pocket Bible, and I can on my iPhone. It actually, I've kind of being that attractive. Here, I'll do it that way. You maybe see a bit bigger screen of it. But I think it looks a little bit cleaner and nicer. The toolbar across looking. They've added a few things. It used to be they had this grid to tap the center of the screen, and it would bring up this 9-box grid, and you would use that to go to next page, tap section for previous book, next book, like book that you have installed, not book of the Bible. And then they also had go to previous book in the Bible, next book, previous chapter. It was really complicated. Now they do it so you can do single finger swipe goes just to the like if you're in a Bible and you're swiping in your Bible to the very next page, so it's the very next verse after the one at the bottom. If verse 6 is at the bottom, you'll then see verse 7 at the top. And then if you do a 2-finger swipe, it'll go to the next chapter. And then if you swipe up and down with 2 fingers, it switches. So if you got the Christian Standard Bible open, well, they don't have Christian Standard Bible open, and then you want to open up your ESV, you use 2-finger swipes. And of course, the one thing I like about on an iPad, not on the phone, but on the iPad, Meridian is the only one you can have up to 4 quadrants open with 4 different books at the same time on the screen. And I really like others, especially I've got a big iPad 12.9-inch screen. I'd love to be able to have 4 things showing, or at least 3, maybe Bible in one and then commentary and notes in a third one.
Well, Rick said that they're not allowed to take suggestions from competitors, so that's never going to happen.
We let everyone take suggestions from us.
a competitor. I don't make any program, and I'd like to suggest that you make more than 2 panes open at a time.
Yeah, I think that'll happen.
Okay. You'd be the only. I don't think anybody else besides Liridian that does that.
Well, on that 12.9-inch screen, I mean, my iPad Pro, that thing's got so much screen real estate, I want to use it.
So that you go to Liridian, LARIDIAN.com, or if you just search for Pocket Bible, all one word. Windows and Mac app, but they're not that good. I wouldn't. The only reason I would use them on Windows and Mac is access, and you don't have it in another program. But it's not the most powerful, but it's a nice tool, and it's probably one of the cheapest ones, by the way. Some of the books that cost a little bit more on other platforms often cost, but they don't have as many because it's really kind of a one-man operation. They used to have 2, but their second guy unfortunately died of cancer 6 years ago, something like that.
I used them briefly on the Windows Phone.
Yeah,
Summer 15.
My first was Pocket Bible on a Pocket PC way back in the day.
Mark used to.
Yeah. And same thing. I used the Pocket Bible back on my Pocket PC too. Yep.
Do you remember back in the days of Quick Verse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same program by the same programmer who creates Pocket Bible.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, same guy. He sold, I think it was, and then went on his own and focused on mobile.
Was it Parsons Soft that put it out, or
helped him put?
Okay.
And it's still.
Wait a minute! It got sold. It got sold to a print shop. Just putting that out there.
I could be wrong about that detail. And eventually, it got bought by Lifeway of the Southern Baptist Convention, and they've, I think, retired it. I don't even think they distribute it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in Bible history, Craig has a website blog, CraigR.com, and he's got the history of Quick Verse. Talks about him writing it using an Atari 400 to begin with. I mean, it's a great article.
Okay,
it'll take you way back. So it's CraigR.com, and just go to the link on the. There's a bunch of blogs on the left hand side of that website, but there's Craig on Quickverse / Parsons Technology History. So there.
Well, Mark, you should reach out.
Yeah, we're giving you an assignment. You have to put that in the note or a comment underneath this post so we can get it in the show.
Gotcha. Will do.
Good point. And also the links to Accordance, and I'll put the Liridian. Then also, Mark, we need to get you to work on getting Craig on the show. He talked about maybe he'd be willing, but he won't answer my emails anymore.
Well,
for some
funny.
We'll move on. The third one that we want to talk about is Logos did a major update, and if someone wants to show off that interface, I think I sent you a link in our Mark if you want to try to share it. But they have a major change in their interface. To be quite honest with you, I liked the Logos Bible app only because it gave me access to a large Logos library that I've been building for 15 years. But I never really liked the look of the Bible app. But I used it because I had to in order to get access to my stuff. This one is so much nicer. I just much taken on the interface of on the mobile side. Safari and Chrome both have quote tabs. It's not technically tabs, and that is because you don't actually. But if you hit a button at the bottom of it, I think they show the interface if you scroll down a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, there you go. Right there, they're showing the GIF of the or GIF, depending on who you are.
Yeah, if you say GIF, please, you're going to make my head hurt.
Yeah, but you tap that button and it shows, and it has different screens, but tabs because they borrow the terminology from Safari and Chrome, who call theirs tabs. And you can open up 2 panes in a single tab, or you can open up multiple tabs and sync those multiple tabs. So you can have 12 books open, all of them synced at the same time, and then just tap that button and it opens. And then that toolbar across the bottom is kind of your way to get around in the app. It shows everything. There's lots of other great features that they have, just like the others. They've got some other great features like everybody else. But one of the other new things they have is something called reference scanner. If you have a paper book, you're reading, say, a paper book, and it's got a bunch of links. Scanner in the Logos Bible app, and it will scan and give you a list of them, and they are now links that you can tap and open up that verse in your Bible app, which is pretty cool.
If you're reading everywhere,
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Because people hand me paper with links on it, I'm like, well, this is useless.
Well, you could download the free Logos app, and it'll come with the ESV, and you can just use it only for that.
Wow.
The other thing is, it will let you take a screenshot. So if you're on a web page, or you're reading a PDF document, or in another app that has references, and you want to be able to open them up in the Logos app, screenshot, and then bring up the reference scanner, and there's a link up in the corner that says Photo Library. Tap on that, photos that you've got, and pull it up that way, and you can. I like that. Those are really the 2 biggest changes. I'm trying to remember.
Can I ask a question? Don't tell, but I've been reading this book that's a Logos title. I've been reading it at night, and I've been reading in the app. In fact, I've been reading in the Android app. But what's missing, or what I can't find anyway in the interface, is they used to be there is the little slider at the bottom. So if you wanted to see something, and you take that slider and go all the way to the front of the book, and then come back, I can't find that anymore.
It's out because they basically did a whole redesign, and then they say they're going to be adding some of that back.
Okay.
It's sort of Apple redesigned Pages and Numbers and Keynote. They said they're going to get a lot of that back. There's also some really silly little quirks. For example, if you share a range, I wanted to share. I'm preaching on 1 John 1:7 through 21 on Sunday. If I want to copy that to the mobile version of Word, it's not going to have the verse numbers. There's nothing you can do to put the verse numbers in. And it's like, what? How stupid can you get? I mean, that's just ignorant that they don't have that in there. Such a basic feature. There's another one. What is it? I can't remember what it was that I look at that and I think, really? This long and you still don't have that? I can't remember what that is. So it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. Me, and you've invested in a very large for me, it would be cost prohibitive to switch to anything else right now. I tried to do it a year ago, and then just started doing the math and realized there's no way I can afford to do this and get this with what I had. But it's what I know how to do, and so I use it, and I can do it. So that's probably the best reason for me to keep using it.
It'll be interesting to see how companies respond to what Accordance has done, because does Logos want you only using their viewer? Like they might be fine you accessing your library through a web page, but now you're accessing their content through Accordance via a web page, and that might freak people out a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if the chains clamp down.
Which is why we didn't publicize it. But I mean, I'm not sure what someone could do.
Yeah.
And we run the risk. I mean, we run the risk of someone saying, well, I really like this other stuff that I'm seeing in Accordance. But the reality is, we know that a lot of our customers are on more than one platform. I was a customer before I worked for the company, and I'm on more than one platform still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just.
Well, even if you buy like a Kindle commentary now, and you can read it in the web browser and put it in the. It's not as good as. It's not as getting it through Accordance, but it's sometimes they're significantly cheaper if you're just buying a volume.
Yeah.
So,
but I'm a lot quicker to buy things. If I look if it's in Kindle, I see it, and then I'll say, is it in accordance? Because in accordance, the references come alive.
Yeah.
And, they have those kinds of tag things in them, and I can add notes that I can then search and things like that. And so I might be a little less quick to do that now that I'll have access to it in accordance as well. Because a lot of times Kindle books are much cheaper because they don't, Logos really loves their books, by the way. Logos thinks a lot of their books, and they want you to sort of an extra fee on top of what others charge.
And just so folks know, my internet dropped down below, so we're not currently broadcasting in HD, but the recording will go to HD, so we'll still have that. Nope.
It's incredible. If someone wants to see the pictures that I have, I'll put a link to some of my photos that I've taken. And what I love is it has the ability to take 3 shots. What do they call that? Bracket mode. Mm-hmm. Where you take one normal and one that's slightly brighter. Record it to my iPad, and my iPad, I open up the Google Photos app, it automatically uploads it, and Google makes an HDR image. I don't have to do a thing. It's within about 5 minutes I've got an HDR, and they do a really good job, and some of the images are pretty sweet. And so I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it's pretty cool. So DJI Spark, over Christmas you could get that thing for as low as $300. You can't now. It's like $600, but you really have to get the controller, and you really should control it with an iPad connected to the controller. So you're going to need an attachment to do all in. You're spending all the DJI Mavic Pro, which is 4K video. This only has 1080p video. The Mavic Pro has 4K video, and you get the controller with the package, and it's a few $100s more. But it's also better features. One of the features on the Mavic Pro that I really wish the Spark had: open up the map, and you can start tapping on the map places you want it to go, and it will fly automatically without any control to those places. And you can, on the map, you can set up these highlight points. And let's say I want it to fly to my church and then do a circle around the church. And then I can fly down the road to somebody's house, and I can hover just in front of it and and then fly over the house and go,
It's really nice.
If you can get it all done in 15 minutes or less, it's pretty nice. And the thing hasn't flown away on me yet. So
like mine did.
Yeah, that's right. That's my favorite thing.
I would love to get a higher end drone, but the problem is that I want to use it for what's considered commercial work, and at that point, it just becomes even more expensive than getting the hardware, and so it kind of prices me right out. Even
a fee and you also have to pass a test to prove that you're skilled with it. I was thinking, churches and say, would you like some drone footage of your, or your business, or and start, when I get good at it, I'd start making some of these cool.
I'll never be able to get that live video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's because these drones can go so high, you can fly into flight patterns. And that's one of the reasons why they're so concerned about it. So what a lot of people do is they get their hot air balloon license, because the fundamentals are all still there, and then they can apply to use drone commercially. But again, it throws me right out the window. And there's little things you're not supposed to fly over top of a crowd. That these are things a professional drone users actually get trained for. And it killed me, because I was ready to go out and get it just to see what it was like.
Well, the the thing I've used it for that might be borderline commercial, we're a nonprofit, obviously, as a church, but I created a video where I took off from the porch right in front of the church with the nice Christmas decorations and then just launched and went up. And, of course, our steeple has a cross on top of it. So I just went up and to the point where you saw the cross, and then I turned that into a loop, which you can do very easily, in some of the church worship presentation software. If you cut off the beginning and put it on the end of your video, then when you put it in loop mode, it looks like it's just one continuous stream. And then I put, welcome to High Peak Baptist Church, Merry Christmas on it. And that was our welcome screen on our projector for, 2 or 3 weeks before Christmas. And that was just kind of cool. And it did it at night. So, everything was lit up and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of those things. No one's going to come after you for it unless you're for something like that. But since I know I can't do it, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not. You say commercial. I'm not making any money off of that, so I don't.
If it's not for personal use, it's considered commercial.
I can't. What? I didn't hear that. So.
Sorry.
So that's my favorite thing: the DJI Spark, and if you can afford it, get the because it's 4K video and has more powerful features. But it's pretty neat.
All right.
Next, who's next?
I got mine. So this is my new favorite toy. So this is a Panasonic Lumix G7, it's a micro four thirds camera. So this looks like a DSLR, right? Looks like a little mini DSLR. It's not a DSLR because it's missing mirror. In a DSLR, you look through your lens, and there's a little prism that goes through the little eyepiece up here that reflects the light through. And when you take a picture, it flips the mirror up, and it exposes the sensor, and you take your shot. This doesn't have a mirror. It's a mirrorless camera. And so it's really, really, insanely light. And I actually just pulled out my Nikon out of my bag for the first time in 3 weeks today and went, wow, this thing's huge. But this sucker is powerful. It does 4K video. It can also do 4K photos, which I haven't played with yet. But essentially, you're using the full size of the sensor, and it'll take up to 30 frames a second in 4K pictures.
Wow!
But you can't do RAW there, so you're taking a little bit of a hit. People use it for focus stacking. So if you get a macro shot, you can actually say there's this thing called post focus. You guys remember the old Lytro cameras? So it kind of is like that. You go into 4K mode, and it just basically finds every piece of contrast in the shot, and it takes a photo for every contrast point, and then you can just tap to where you want to focus afterwards. But it essentially cool. Is an MP4 file. You can bring that into Photoshop, trim off what you don't want, and then export it out as a image sequence and say, all right, stack this, and it just controls. Love this thing. I knew I would like it. I didn't know I would just kind of fall in love with it because it's just so light, and I carry it around with me everywhere. Battery life is really good. It's got built-in Wi-Fi. It's a 16 megapixel sensor, so it's not huge. And micro four thirds sensors they're cropped, and they're a little smaller than a typical kind of consumer level DSLR, which is what I was shooting at. So they're not quite as good as in low light. They tend to have a lot more noise when you up your sensitivity up. But man, I have loved this. And like I said, it does 4K video too, although the one 4K video I tried to edit on my Mac almost melted it. So I think I'll probably be sticking with 1080p for now. But I love this thing. And I also, Kevin, I was going to consider using this because I have an adapter where I can plug this in and use this as my camera. And but I wanted to show it off tonight, so I decided not to. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I
how much is that?
Love this. I got this in a bundle on Amazon right before Christmas that came with a bunch of cheapo accessories, all of which I'm actually using, and 2 lenses. So I got this one, which is a 14 to 42 f3.5 lens, and then the other lens that I got is a 25 millimeter f1.7, and that's actually I shot on that straight for 2 weeks with nothing else because it's just a phenomenal lens. And it's so much fun. And it's just tiny. It's so small. And it gets out of the way. So I'm looking forward. I'm going to practice some street photography this summer. And so this will be the body I take around to do it.
And did you say the price yet?
I'm sorry, I got the whole bundle for $700.
Okay, that's reasonable for a camera with that quality and
it's a
feature set.
well, it's a 2-year-old body, so that's one thing to come out. So it's it's a little, the technology's a little older, but it's still fantastic. And Panasonic is selling it as one of their current models to purchase off their website, so they're still behind it. So that's nice.
And so you'll put a link to that.
Well,
in
in
the comments.
I'll put something similar.
Okay, just put a link to the camera somewhere, wherever, either the Lumix site or Panasonic site or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, Rick, Mark, who wants to go next?
I can go.
Okay, Rick. Go ahead, Rick.
I'm going to share my screen here real quick again. I'm talking to everyone through this. This is 5K Ultra. And so this is connected to my MacBook Pro, and in fact there's a 1080p camera that I'm all of you with, and so I've been wanting this for a while. If you look at it, it has really mixed reviews. I'm going to turn off the.
You got to share your screen there, bud.
I thought I was sharing it. Am I not sharing?
Not sharing.
Not yet.
Not sharing. I was showing pictures of it and everything. Okay, now how about now?
We were just looking at the picture of your funny face. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You're sharing, yeah.
Okay, now technology. But this is the LG Ultrafine 5K monitor, and it's made for the Macintosh. Apple helped design it. For really bad reviews because of they had some problems with shielding, and so if you had a Wi-Fi router close, and people complained that it wasn't pretty. I'm gonna stop sharing. It wasn't pretty like an Apple like that, but I'm telling you, it's just I'm not still sharing my screen, am I?
Nope.
Okay. They fixed the shielding problem, and you don't even see the bezel when you're using it. I mean, that's the great thing. So it came with 4 USB-C Thunderbolt more USB-C ports, because I went all in with USB-C, and I didn't have enough places to plug stuff in. So I've actually got surrounding myself here. I've got the 5K monitor in front of me, and then I've got an HP 27-inch here on my right, and I've got a Acer 20. And so all of these are being driven by my 2016 MacBook Pro. It's really nice, but this also allows me, because I do a lot of the how-to videos for Accordance. This is going to actually allow me to do 4K videos, which some folks want TV or something. You've got a 4K TV, you'll be able to do that without any degradation in resolution.
And with that many monitors, I just have one question to ask you. At what age were you diagnosed with ADD?
Yeah. Well, what's nice is I have email over here. I can have some communication. Whatever my main thing is that I'm working on is right. Or I've got my own system. I've been doing it for a while, one way or another.
How much is that?
It is pricey because it's a 5K monitor, and there are the Thunderbolt. It's $12.99.
$12.99. That's not
Get
bad.
10 of them.
I'd buy 10. $1,299. All right, Mark, go for it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm sharing. Let's see. Hopefully, my screen here.
Yep.
I've used sizzling keys for. Oh man, it's gone on every Mac I've had for at least 10 years, I guess. And just a really simple little app that lets you control iTunes, and I have it set so that I can pause and play with just regardless of whether iTunes is in the background, doesn't matter. I just love these. There's, they're not, but the things they do are great. So, in fact, it's weird for me to try to use iTunes on a computer that doesn't have these keyboard controls, because I use them all the time. And there are probably other ways. I'm sure there are. But developer, and they Yellow Mug software that makes some other cool apps too. So if you're a Mac user, check them out. And think this is probably Mac only. It was in the past, but on the Mac App Store.
Does it matter that it hasn't been updated since 2014, or have they just got it right and it works?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't think they have updated it since then, but I'm using it in High Sierra, no problems. So
maybe they just got it right.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
So at least I know it works now, and it's worked in every version of the software that in 10 years. So I'm sure they've updated it. Obviously they have since then. But anyway, just a neat little utility. So.
Awesome.
Oh, and one other thing. My other favorite thing is my iPhone 6S.
You're still sharing your screen, Mark.
Mark. Oh, okay. Technology. My iPhone 6S. And the cool thing about this is that it's not the Android phone. And I know we've got Android users. I love you guys, but man, this is the second time I've tried hard to use Android. Yep, there we go.
I've got one. There's no SIM in it though. It's just for screenshots.
You know what's
beautiful?
The biggest thing for me, was I had a Google Pixel, and it could in the camera app you could drop in characters and stuff that were animated. That was cool. But
I had someone put a stormtrooper in the front of our church.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But iMessage, not having my messages synced across my Mac and the phone. And I could give you a whole list of things that irritated me about it. But I'm just so happy to be back in the fold, even if it is getting this thing today made me feel like I had an iPhone 10. I mean, that's how it came in the mail. I was like, I just love you, my precious. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that does qualify on the fanboy level of things, but that's okay. It's all right.
Not having to listen to my tablet and my computer and all my other devices go off when I get a message is one of the reasons I prefer my Android phone.
That is true. That does happen.
It's really annoying. I get a phone call on this one. I've got both because I'm stupid and like to throw money away. When I get a phone call on this one, it drives me nuts because about 4 things go off.
Yeah, I had that
turned off.
I know. I just haven't bothered, so I should, but I didn't.
It is the most annoying thing to get a phone call on my computer. Like I
took one today because my phone wasn't anywhere near me. It's convenient sometimes.
Well, that's I think maybe why I didn't turn it off, because on occasion I'd leave my phone in the other room and someone would call and I was like, I do need to answer that, so I'll click on it. But I don't have a Mac of any kind right now, so all I've got is 2 iPads and an iPhone. So, all right, well, this has been fun. I'm glad we chose to do it this way. I think it worked well. And put some notes and comments below what you liked or didn't like. Like our Facebook page over at the Theotek Podcast. Just search for us on Facebook and you'll find it that way. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, we're going to be doing this mostly. But for a while, we'll keep uploading to YouTube just so that, we can slowly transition. We will let the YouTube page die, I believe. We'll still think about that, but and then we'll go mostly
Folks
with
should
just
give
Facebook.
us their input.
Yeah, if if that would say, no, there's no way I'm watching you on Facebook, so maybe we'll keep it up. But this is just Google Hangouts is going away eventually, I think, or at least it's going away, and we just didn't feel like it was going to be reliable. And when Wes got this Ecamm software for his Mac, we thought, that's great. I think we'll use it. My problem is I can't. Being a part of the Theotek Podcast today, and we're going to go ahead and sign off for now. So,
Bye.
sayonara.
See ya.
You guys.